Hey, what's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? So, I am out at an appointment and I have to wait. Uh, so, while I was sitting here, I thought might as well use this time to my advantage. And how many of you have kind of felt lately that? Let me start off by saying, May the 6th be with you. Revenge of the 6th. Or for you Trekkies, live long and prosper. I know. Uh, got my Star Wars patch on today, sporting some Star Wars. I love these Star Wars holidays. Star Wars has become such a big part of our culture, and worldwide, Star Wars has had such a huge impact. Everything from Disney's Galaxy's Edge to the movies, to the games, and even the Saber academies that are popping up all over the place. It gives people a different way to go out and exercise and social connect with people. And I mean, who doesn't love some sword training? Sword training is awesome. So, uh, one of those things that we see with stuff like that is the ability to connect with people. When I was doing martial arts, I really enjoyed connecting with people, and I really enjoyed being around people. And now with stuff like the saber training, it gives a new opportunity to bring in and reach younger people. At my church, we have our saber club, and it's an outreach program for some of the kids that we wouldn't normally be able to reach. And I think it's important for us to continue to find a way to reach out, and that's actually kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I think a lot of people have kind of stopped reaching out. I know that here in North Carolina, we're about to enter into a set of phases to reopen the economy, as it were. And that's great. I think it's wonderful that we're getting ready to do that, and whether you think it's too early or not the point. People will do what they will do, and you can speculate whether something is right or wrong all day long. Opinion doesn't really matter. I can certainly say I don't think we're ready for that, but ultimately I'm not in charge. I'm not the one that's going to have to say yes or no. Whether we reopen or not, I need to do what I feel is best for me. And if this goes badly, then we know that wasn't a good idea. Pretty straightforward. If it goes okay, and all those people that said that the world is going to come to an end when we reopen because this is going to come back, it's going to be stronger, well, it's speculation. You might be right, you might not be. We don't know. And the powers that be put people in charge. God allows people to be in authoritative positions, and all we can do is hope and pray that those people are making the best decisions. And we know that God allows bad people to be in charge sometimes. We know that throughout history, Pharaoh was allowed to stay in charge until he wasn't. Herod was allowed to stay in charge until he wasn't, and then Herod was allowed to stay. Herod was a position, not a person. Kind of like Caesar is a position, not a person. Just history lesson. And just like Pharaoh is a position, not a person. We know that God allows people to be in charge. He allowed Hitler to be in charge. He allowed Mussolini and Stalin and those people to be in charge, and we have to trust that God is still in control. God knows what's going on, and we trust God. What we do have control over is, one, our prayer life. We have the ability to continue to pray for our leadership, to pray for the wisdom that they make the right decisions. We have the ability to pray for their hearts and their minds, that they are connecting with God, and continue to make good, godly choices that they feel is the best for the country and the people. We have the right and the ability, which has not been taken away from us, to continue to meet with our church loved ones via social media, over group chats, Zoom meetings, Hangout meetings, stuff like that, Skype meetings. We still have that ability. Our ability to worship has not been taken away from us. It's different right now for obvious reasons, but those things are still things that we have the right to do and things that we should be doing. Are we reaching out to people as much as we should be? From my experience, no, not really. Now, I don't know if my experience is different than others, but a lot of people that I usually converse with have been nowhere to be found. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have things to do. I'm not saying that they're not busy or that what they have going on isn't important. What I am saying is they have not been around. There's a lot of people I have not talked to in weeks. There's people that have stopped reaching out. There's people that I know were going through some stuff and came to me, and then the moment that they weren't going through stuff anymore, disappeared. Now, what do we do with that? How does that affect you? If you're anything like me, that hurts me deeply. I am one of my biggest personality flaws is the feeling that I need to be accepted by people, wanting to be liked by others. A lot of people can sit there and say, I don't give a flying rat's patootie what that person thinks of me. That's not me. I want to be liked by others. I want to be there for others, and the thing that hurts me probably the most is when I feel like I'm only there when people need someone to talk to. And then when I'm going through something and they're not going through anything anymore, they're just gone. And that's been a roller coaster for me. Though that's been something that I've faced for a large part of my life. I've been kind of the go-to for a lot of people. And while I do have people that I can reach out and touch base with, the number of people are few and far between. And on top of that, there's been a significant there's been a problem with I think I'm being given what I need, but not what I expect it to be. Certain people are there, certain people are around, people that I did not necessarily feel very close to, but the people that I've not felt very close to are the people who've been around. And sometimes we have to say, okay, God, what are you giving me? Are you giving me what I need or what I want? And that's something that we have to have discernment. We have to continue in our prayer lives to look and say, okay, is God answering our prayers by giving me the answer that I need, not necessarily what I want? I can pray for a Maserati all day long. That doesn't mean I'm going to get it. If I need a new car and I'm praying for a Maserati and he gives me a little Kia, well, prayer answered, but not necessarily in the way I had thought about it. I don't need a car. While I did have to shell out almost $1,000 in repairs to my car still runs. It's perfectly fine. Just needed some updates, minor repairs, or not so minor repairs, but regardless, God provides. Whether we think that the worldwide conspiracy of taking away our rights and taking away our constitutional and human rights, um, God still provides. So we have what we need. God gives us what we need. God gives us shelter. He gives us food. I know a lot of people have not had the money to go buy food, and as unfortunate as that is, there's still ways. We still have food banks. We still have ways for people to get food. People who live in more rural areas, I hate to say it, but maybe you forage, right? Maybe you go out and you pick some berries, or maybe you get some seeds and you grow your own little garden. Even if it's just a small little potting container, God will provide what you need. Sometimes we may have to work harder for it. And a lot of times if we go without, it's because we haven't really looked for it. Whether it be the food banks that are everywhere right now, churches that are gathering food for people or supplies for people. There's a lot of organizations right now that are helping feed those in need. So there is a lot of options. It's just a matter of sometimes thinking outside the box and trusting in God to guide you through prayer to where you need to be. So there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of uncertainty in the country with where we're supposed to go, what we're supposed to do. There's been a lot of conspiracies, or I should say conspiracy theories about where this virus came from, or how it spread, or let me say this: YouTube is not a viable source for accurate information, because anybody can take a little bit of what looks like evidence and they can show it, and they can say, I'm a so-and-so, I'm a doctor, and this is a little bit of evidence, and anybody can say anything about anything. Fact check. Check the sources. Check check even pastors. Pastors on YouTube, pastors in the pulpit, pastors out on missions. Read your Bibles. Make sure what they're saying is accurate and true and scriptural. There's a lot of churches out there that preach and teach whatever they want, but people don't actually get into their Bibles to check them on it. So there's a lot of things that we need to start doing, and there's a lot of things that we have the opportunities to do, and I think we have the ability to use our heads a little bit. And I've heard it this way, that a lot of people are being considered sheep by staying home, by adhering to the quarantines and stuff like that. When the last plague went over Egypt, God told Moses, have them stay inside and cover the door with lamb's blood, and death will pass over the house, which is where Passover comes from. In essence, that was a form of quarantine. There was something that was coming around, a plague that was coming around, and it was going to kill very specific people, and to quarantine yourself and to prevent death from attacking the wrong people, they had to stay inside. And I think that when we look at risks, I think a lot of people have really turned into selfish little turds. And I'm going to be straight up and honest with you about that. I think people, not working sucks. Absolutely. But when it comes time to the people who are actually working the front lines, your actions could very seriously affect them and their families. People who work in law enforcement and in the hospitals, and yeah, some people in hospitals got laid off and some people in hospitals got furloughed. Why? Because they were non-essential in the hospital. And to keep them safe, prevent problems. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of people who just want to look at the one inconvenience or a couple of the inconveniences, and people stating that this is oppressive, and they really have no idea what oppression is. They have no idea what it means to be oppressed. My state's been in lockdown, but I can go hiking. I can go out to the lake. You know, some parks are closed, sure, but I can go out. I can still go to Walmart. I can still do my shopping. I can still go to the store. I can still get what I need. Yeah, not everybody's working, and that sucks. And that is an unfortunate repercussion to what's going on. But that doesn't mean your rights are being taken away. I've not left my house and have been met with someone armed with an AR-15 or an M16 telling me, get back in my house. I've not been met with military or law enforcement force to stay in my home, like other countries are right now. I have not gone days without water, like I know people in other countries are. I have not gone days without power, like people in other countries are. I have not gone without a meal in my home, like people in other countries are. So before we sit there and say that our rights are being stripped away, that a temporary inconvenience means a long-term stripping of our rights, this is not the first time that a quarantine order has been in effect, and our rights were given back in the early 1900s during the 1918-1920 pandemic. They came back. Your rights aren't being removed from you. It's a temporary inconvenience for public health safety. And even if it's not so bad for you, what about those that it is bad for? What about those people who've lost 5 or 6 members of their family? What about those healthcare workers who are inundated with sick and have legitimately worked with masks on their faces to the point where they have cuts along their face from their mask? What about the people who work in those situations who are terrified to take it home to their families and their kids? What about them? You think this is a minor inconvenience for you? What it is for them? When was the last time you said thank you to a nurse or a doctor who've worked in the COVID units? When was the last time you thanked law enforcement officers for continuing to keep us safe despite everything going on, with rules that change every single day? When was the last time you thanked your pastor whose life was flipped upside down, who's trying to figure out how to still get you the Word of God, as difficult as it is for them to be away from what they know and love? When was the last time you reached out to a friend or a family member? When was the last time you tried to right a wrong in a relationship? When was the last time you said you were sorry for a mistake you've made? When was the last time you tried to forgive someone for a mistake that they'd made to you? We've been given an amazing opportunity to slow down our lives and start to evaluate the things that are important. Sports, entertainment, yeah, that's all. It all has a place in our lives, but it's non-essential. When was the last time you spent some time thanking those essential workers, thanking the farmers, thanking those who work in retail, who get almost the lowest pay out there? And yet they're putting themselves at legitimate risk every single day for very little pay and almost no thanks. So when was the last time you really took a good hard look at how you treat others? You know, the Jedi kind of remove emotion from the situation to be Jedi. They teach to kind of limit yourself from those emotions, and the Sith are fueled by that emotion, but it's negative emotion. It's hate. It's anger. And what's interesting is the Gray Jedi have a balance between the two. They have the ability to kind of balance both sides of the Force. And I think when we're looking at where we are right now, I think I'd say the vast majority of people are leaning towards the Sith. I think there's a lot of selfishness going on right now, and a lot of people are looking at the inconvenience for themselves, but are failing to look at the blessings, are failing to look at those who are actually impacted. And a lot of people say, well, it's not that bad. No, you realize that it could have very well been absolutely horrible had we not social distanced. Right? There's a cause and effect. It's not so bad. It's not so bad because we did something about it. Well, the mortality rate is lower than they thought. Maybe. I mean, ultimately, when you're looking at stuff like that, you have to look at, say, okay, those who are healthy are also social distancing, and we've seen healthy people die who did not have underlying health conditions. So we don't know all of what might have happened. You know, I saw this thing that asked Doctor Strange which version are we in the multiverse. Version 14 million something or other. We don't know what would have happened or what could have happened or what may have happened. We made decisions to try to minimize the effect. We made choices to try to minimize the effect. And now a lot of people are getting antsy, being selfish, looking at only themselves. When was the last time you helped anybody else? Like I said, there's an opportunity now to look and say, life is precious. Life is valuable. All life is valuable. And we have an opportunity to change how we're looking at this, to count our blessings, to make right what we've done wrong. Extend olive branches, show love, be there for others. Be the church. People are suffering in silence. People are going through depression and hardships. And I'm not sure we're really doing enough to be there for them. So I hope everybody has a good day. I hope everybody takes a little bit of time and looks at their blessings that they have and stop complaining about what they don't have. It's been exhausting just seeing such negativity on Facebook and all over the place, and negativity in the news, and politics, and people are just mean and cruel to one another. It's been exhausting. Take some time to get back with God. Do some up your prayer time. Get into Scripture. It's valuable. So, all right, everybody. Well, I got to get ready to go into my appointment. I don't know how they're doing things right now, so I got to go find out. But take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Please stay safe. Wear your mask. I mean, wear your mask outside. Not outside, but like if you're in a building, wear your mask. If you're going running, no, you don't need to wear your mask running. If you're skateboarding, you don't need to wear your mask skateboarding, right? You're outside. It's inside, around people. Be safe. Call somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Tell somebody that you're sorry for something wrong you've done. Forgive someone who's wronged you. All right. Stay safe, everybody. Love you guys. And may the force be with you.